There was a time in my life I remember when I thought the harder I held on to something, the more likely I was going to keep it. Whether it was a person, a goal, or a specific outcome. I believed that if I tried harder, I wanted it more, or I was obsessed over every small nitty gritty detail, I would get what I wanted. But that is not how life works. The more that you cling on to something, the more resistance you create. And the more desperate that you are for something to happen a certain way, the more it slips away from you. I'm pretty sure that you know what I'm talking about. You know this feeling. You felt it at some point in your life. The moment that you stop waiting for a text to come through, it comes. The second that you stop chasing validation, people start valuing you more. And the job that you wanted so badly finally shows up the moment you stop stressing over it. This is not luck. This is the power of detachment. When you learn to let go, life starts flowing in ways you never imagined. Hey beautiful souls, welcome to episode 5 of the Glow Up From Within series, an 8-part video series where I show you how to truly glow up from within. Okay, let me put it this way. So when you hold on too tightly to something, you create a sense of fear. Fear that you will lose it, fear that you will never get it, or fear that you're not good enough for it, or you're not good enough without it. This fear triggers your brain's amygdala, activating your flight or fight situation and response, and flooding your body with cortisol, which is the stress hormone. Instead of operating from confidence and trust, you then become anxious, controlling, and desperate. And desperation doesn't attract, it repels. Think about how energy in general works. Everything in the universe operates on frequency and vibration, including your thoughts, your emotions, and every single thing around you. When you are in a state of attachment, you're vibrating at a frequency of lack. You're signaling to the universe that I don't have this and I need it to feel complete. I need it to be happy. But the law of attraction and quantum physics show us that like attracts like. We've heard this everywhere. So when you focus on lack, you attract more lack. When you focus on trust, you attract more things to trust on in your life. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Krishi, and on this side of the internet, we talk all about leveling up, mindset shifts, self-growth, and stepping into a life that's already yours. You just have to learn how to align with it. So let's make that happen together. Have you ever noticed that when you're obsessed with something, like deeply obsessed with it, it seems further out of your reach? When you finally let go, then that's when things start falling into place effortlessly. This is a law of detachment in action. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how when we stop obsessing over outcomes and instead shift into a state of certainty and gratitude, we rewire our brain to expect good things then. And this creates a magnetic pull, aligning us with opportunities, people, and experiences we desire. A perfect example is when you really want someone to like you, you overanalyze every message you send to them, you worry about every interaction and come off as needy. And that energy that pushes them away because it signals insecurity and fear. But when you shift into this state of self-assurance and detachment, you're finally like, oh, I don't care anymore. Suddenly, they're more interested and they reach out to you more. They're drawn to your confidence then. This is not magic in any way. This is all energy. It's all a push and pull effect in the universe, the yin-yang effect. And this applies to then everything in your life, dating, friendships, career, money. The law of reverse effort shows us that the harder you try to force something, the more resistance you kind of create. It's like a elastic band. Instead of gripping so tightly to the band, trust the flow. The universe is always working in your favor, but it responds to your state of being. When you embody the belief that everything is meant for you and it's already on its way to you, you shift into this magnetism instead of chasing all the time. And it's also so much more fun and calm and a calmer way to live. Detachment is not about giving up in any way. Again, don't get me wrong. It's about knowing that you don't need to force things to happen a certain way, because what is meant for you will naturally align when you are in the right energy. It's like, again, I say, tuning up frequency when you turn on a radio. And letting go of expectations means freeing yourself from the need for things to happen in a certain way and only in a certain way, and trusting that life is always working for you, not against you. It doesn't mean that you're giving up on your dreams or lowering your standards in any way. It means that you're releasing the belief that things must unfold exactly as you have imagined them in order for you to be happy. You can have goals and you must have goals, but when you are fixated on only one version of success, you close yourself off to so many big opportunities and greater possibilities. The job that you were once convinced was your dream role might not happen because there's another bigger opportunity waiting for you that actually is more aligned with you and is probably what you want and what you were looking for, but you didn't just know it. The relationship that you thought was your forever might end or might not last not because you failed, but because someone more aligned with your future is on their way to you. And the moment that you let go of the need to control how and when things arrive in your life, you create space for something even better than you originally asked for. The universe knows best. This is where trust comes in. Trust that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Trust that if something is removed from your life, it is for your highest good. And trust that life is guiding you in ways that you might not understand in the moment, but will make perfect sense later when you have the more bird's eye view. Think back to a time in your life when something did not go as planned, but in hindsight, it worked out for the best. Maybe a rejection led you to an opportunity that changed your life. Maybe a heartbreak pushed you further to grow in ways that you never would have imagined. This is the beauty of detachment. When you stop trying to force things and instead allow life to just unfold, you align with something greater than you ever imagined. Letting go means that you just completely trust. You trust that everything you desire is coming. Trust that you're being redirected, not rejected, and trust that the universe has a plan for you far greater than you're holding on to. So with me, say that you release the grip now. You take a deep breath, let go of the need to control every outcome and every scenario of your life, because the moment that you surrender to the universe, you open your arms for so much more and you step into the magic of receiving. As we talk about detachment, I want to talk about this concept that I read somewhere, and it's called the flow state. It's a psychological concept where you become fully immersed in an activity, losing track of time, effort, and even self-consciousness. It's a state where you connect with your higher being, your self-awareness. It's a state where athletes perform their best, they've realized. Artists would either create their most brilliant work, and entrepreneurs make their most innovative decisions in the flow state. Psychologists describe this as a moment where challenge and skill meet, creating a sense of effortless engagement. Now, what does this have to do with detachment? Every single thing. When you're too attached to an outcome, whether it's success, love, or external validation, you overthink, you hesitate, and second guess yourself instead of being present in the moment and enjoying the journey of life. You're stuck in your head worrying about results. That pressure then blocks you from performing at your best. But when you truly detach, and there's like a shift where you suddenly let go, it's like almost this weight coming off. You shift your focus from the outcome to the process. You're no longer thinking, what if this doesn't work out? What if this fails? Instead, you're fully engaged in what you're doing right now, and that is when the magic happens, because you have no weight. You can just truly put all your energy in the process that you're doing. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece and coming up with it. If they were worried about how people will judge the final piece, will it sell? They will hesitate then while making the art piece, overcorrect, and eventually lose their creative flow. But if they detach from that as result and outcome and just truly enjoy the process and simply focus on the art of creating, they get lost in the moment and the work then flows effortlessly. That's where the most creative part of your brain opens up. The same applies to your dating life, your career goals, and personal growth. The moment that you stop obsessing over getting a certain result and a certain way you've imagined it, and instead focus on showing up, enjoying the process, and giving it your best, you naturally start attracting what is meant for you. Let's talk about a few ways how we can enter our flow state through detachment. Firstly, I want you to shift your focus from an outcome perspective to the process perspective. Instead of thinking about what you will finally gain, focus on fully experiencing the task at hand. That is, like we say, the only time we have is the time that we're living in right now. So if you're always thinking about the past and the future, you're truly not enjoying your life. And then I want you to eliminate all distractions and self-doubt. The more present you are in the moment, the easier it is for you to stay in a level of flow. Challenge yourself throughout the process, but don't force it, because flow happens when there is balance between skill and challenge. Push yourself without overwhelming yourself, obviously. And then please detach from perfection. We all live in this perfect world. There's truly truly no definition for perfection. You don't need to control every step. The best things happen when you trust yourself and let go of those rigid expectations. The flow state tells us that when you let go, you allow life to flow. And when you're fully engaged in the present moment, you become naturally magnetic to everything meant for you. Next fundamental of detachment I want to talk about is a quote that I read somewhere that said something like, when you stop expecting, everything becomes a gift. And I think that's so true. Expectations truly are one of the biggest sources of disappointment. When we expect people to behave a certain way, situations to unfold exactly as we imagined, or success to happen on our timeline, we set ourselves up for frustration. And the reality is that life doesn't follow any script. People are unpredictable, circumstances change, and the more that we attach to a specific outcome, the more that we suffer when things don't go as planned. And that's where detachment comes and changes everything. When you stop expecting, you start appreciating. Think about a time when someone just did something unexpectedly for you, something nice for you. Maybe a friend probably checked up on you when you needed it the most, or someone gave you a compliment out of nowhere. And the moment felt so special because you didn't expect it. So it came out of nowhere. It was a surprise. But now imagine if you expected it, it wouldn't have the same impact, would it? This is what happens when you approach life with a detachment sort of lens, when you release the expectations that people owe you kindness, or that things must happen in a certain way, or that happiness can only come from a specific event. Everything that comes your way then is like a blessing. Instead of being disappointed when things don't go according to plan, you start seeing life full of surprises. And why do we always have to be thrown at rock bottom to then let go of expectations? Why can't we just make that our natural way of living, to just give without expecting? If you stop expecting your friends to always be available, you start truly appreciating the time that you do spend together with them. If you stop expecting success to come quickly, every small win that comes along the way feels meaningful. And if you stop expecting a relationship to complete you in a way, you start valuing the connection that you have for what it is, rather than what you think it should be. Think about your relationship with your dog. You genuinely don't expect anything from them. So anything they do, even if they come and sit with you, it's so rewarding because you genuinely don't expect anything from them. It's unconditional love. This is not about lowering your standards. It's about shifting your mindset from entitlement to gratitude. Instead of demanding things to go a certain way, you must open yourself up to receiving life as it comes. You stop focusing on what is missing and start appreciating what is present in front of you. And that is when life starts feeling so much lighter, more abundant, and more just fulfilling. Studies in positive psychology show that when we practice gratitude instead of expectation, our brain releases more dopamine and serotonin, which are the chemicals responsible for happiness and emotional resilience. Essentially, the less we expect, the happier we become, because we stop measuring life against an invisible checklist that we have in our head, and we start embracing it for what is already there. Because truly, no one can live up to your expectations, because that's like, again, an invisible checklist that you have in your mind for people to just randomly read without you telling them and to show up for you. But that is not possible. Everyone has their own life to live, and they cannot live up to your expectations, those invisible ones especially. There's a powerful quote by Buddha that says that you only lose what you cling to. And think about that for a second. The more that we grasp onto things, the more we fear losing them. But when we loosen our grip, we free ourselves from any sort of fear. We don't have anything to lose then. So here's a challenge I want you all to do. For one day, release all expectations. Expect nothing. Do everything that you keep doing. Keep putting in the work. Keep doing the same thing you do for everyone. Be kind, but expect nothing in return. Assume nothing. Simply go through your day with an open mind and notice how much lighter and freer you feel by the end of the day, and happier as well. Because when you don't expect, everything becomes a gift. Every small thing. And let me know after you tried how you feel down in the comments. Start living by the art of detachment. It's honestly the best gift you can give to yourself. And thank you for being here, for growing, and for glowing from within. You're already one step closer to living in complete trust and flow. I value each and every one of you watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.